Can you guys hear me? Live chat. All right. Hi, guys. I'm sorry it's really late. All right. Alexa says hi, Megan. All right, guys. I am almost done with the test. I've got 25 of the 35 questions typed. So I'm working on finishing up the last 10 now, getting them into the document. So that's where I'm at. I'm here just to kind of answer any questions you guys have last minute or anything like that. So if you type questions in the comment box, I will answer them. I'll do my best to make sure. Can you hear me okay? I know you said you could hear me, but okay is a different word. Okay, good. Yes, lots of S's there. All right. I am. Nicole says, hi, Lauren. And Antonella. Hey. All right. Is there a lot of questions that depend on the determinants of supply and demand? 10. Vinny says to shout him out. Hey, Vinny. Can I explain everything? Not really. Not a month's worth of content in 15 minutes. But if you tell me what you want to know, I can hopefully talk about just that. So, Nicole, the answer to your question is 10. 10 questions of 35 on supply and demand. The test is all multiple choice. There's 35 total, Gabe. There are, and it basically goes 5, 5, 5, 5, 5. There are 5 on factors of production and scarcity, and 5 on production possibilities curves, and then there are 5 on comparative and absolute advantage. There are 5 on determinants of demand, and there's 5 on determinants of supply. There are 5 on equilibrium, and 5 on producer and consumer surplus. So that is the breakdown of the test. Quantity, demand, and supply, if that makes sense. Okay, so Alexis, I have 4 Alexises. So I'm thinking you're the Alexis in third hour. That's who I'm imagining. I don't know if that's you or not, but that's the Alexis in my head when I'm talking to you. The relationship between quantity, demand, and supply. Hi, Nicole. There you go. What you have to remember when we talk about quantity, when we talk about demand, or we talk about supply, is that they're different parts of the graph. And I'm going to try and find a piece of paper to graph this on. Ow. Okay. So if I say the word demand, I'm talking about all the possible prices. So I'm talking about not a specific point, but I'm talking about the entire demand curve. So when I talk about that, I'm getting pretty colored pens to help with my graph. When I say demand, I mean the entire line. Okay, so that's demand. If I say supply, I mean the entire line, the entire thing. If I say quantity, I mean a specific point. So if I say quantity, I mean that dot right there. Okay, so whenever I say quantity, it has to be a specific spot on the graph. If I say demand, I mean the entire line. So quantity means a dot and demand means the line. Same thing with supply. I talk about supply, I mean the whole line. If I talk about quantity supply, I mean like this spot right here. So this is not straight, but you get the idea. Here would be quantity supplied, that one spot. So when we talk about changes, if the entire line is going to move to the right or to the left, if it shifts, we're talking about change in quantity or change in supply. But if just the dot moves, just the dot goes up and the dot goes down, we're just changing the quantity. So I hope that helps, Alexis. Let me know if it does or not. Okay, so Megan, are all the questions based off of graphs like our online worksheets? No, there's one, two, I think there's 4 graphs. Let me open the test. Give me 1 second. 1, 2, 3, 4. There are 4 graphs. So 20 of the 35 questions come from graphs. The other 15 do not. So there's this. Gabe, so both demand and supply are the whole line. Yes. The definition of demand, the textbook definition that you typed, is the quantity of a good or service that a consumer is willing to buy at all possible prices. Demand is all the price points, so it's the whole line. And supply is the amount that a producer is willing able to sell at all possible prices. It's the whole line. So yeah, so if you say the word demand, you mean the entire line. And if you say the word supply, you mean the entire line. Hi from England. Supply is rotten. Yes, Emma. And demand is tribe. So, and there are questions on rotten and tribe. Yes, Emma. And you have to know those in order to answer those questions. And if you do know those, there are questions on the test that'll be like this. You're like, oh, these are all tribe and that one is rotten, and the question's about supply, so it's got to be that one. Okay. Can I give you an example using supply, demand, and quantity? Marginal cost and marginal benefit. What do they mean again? Can you explain rotten tribe? Okay. A lot of you are going fast, so I'll do what I can. Can I give you an example question using supply, demand, and quantity? I have to think about that for a few minutes. Give me a minute. While I'm thinking about that, Marina, your ideal is where they're equal. So for Marina, for marginal cost and marginal benefit, ideally, they're equal. Equal is the best option. If they cannot be equal, If you cannot have them equal, then ultimately you want your benefits to outweigh your costs, okay? Because then you're still good. Once your costs are greater than your benefits, you're losing, and that's a bad place to be. You don't want to be there. So equal is your first choice. If you can't have equal, get as close to equal as you can with benefits greater than costs. I hope that answers Marina's question. Emma, now I'm up to you. Emma and Sophia, can you explain rotten and tried? Okay. I'm going to start with tried. This is a poster on the front of the classroom. T-R-I-B-E. Okay. The determinants of demand: taste preferences in advertising, related goods, income, buyers in the market, expectations. These are the determinants that will shift demand to the right or to the left. I also put a Prezi of these, a really pretty one too, by the way, on Google Classroom on the stream page. So there's that. Next is supply. The determinants of supply are rotten. First, you have your resources. OUR resources cost. Then you have your opportunity cost. And then you have tech, taxes, or subsidies. You have expectations. And you have number of sellers. Okay. This is for a screenshot if you want it. These are the factors of determinants of supply, and these will shift supply to the right or to the left. So I'm just going to give you an example. Pick one. I'll pick technology. If you have new or advanced technology, you're going to increase your supply. If you have old or out-of-date technology, that would cause you to decrease your supply. Now remember, when we shift, right is more and left is less. So new technologies would shift supply to the right. Old technologies would shift supply to the left. So there's your determinants of supply. Like I said, the Prezi that defines every one of these is on Google Classroom. Okay. So when do we use 1/2 base times height? Consumer and producer surplus. The area of the triangle is on the graph when you have to find consumer and producer surplus. That's on the test. Both of them, consumer and producer surplus. So what is a producer and consumer surplus? Well, those are the consumer surplus is the amount a consumer is willing and able to pay above asking price. So on a graph, you find your asking price, your equilibrium price, and you take price over to equilibrium. Now remember, it's above, so you're going up your demand curve, and you make your triangle. Find the area of the triangle, and that's your consumer surplus. Producer surplus is the amount producers are willing to accept below asking price for their product. So you're going to take your equilibrium, go over to equilibrium, follow down the supply curve, make your triangle, and you will find your producer surplus. Caden, if that's not good, let me know. So what does expectations mean? Chris, expectations are what you expect to happen in the future. Like the grill. You know, if you expect grills to go on sale next week, do you buy it today or buy it next week? Well, you're going to buy it next week. And if you're buying it next week, your demand today would fall. All right. If you are a producer, it's the opposite. If you expect your product to go on sale next week as a business owner, you try and sell it today. So you're going to push product now instead of when the prices go down. And then you will switch your actions. If you expect prices to go up in the future, you're not going to sell now. You're going to try and hold on to that now to sell it in the future when prices are higher. All right. It works a lot in agriculture when goods can be frozen. If you can freeze your product and sell it when prices go up later, you'd be better off. Marina, it's more understanding and application. If you understand that people are rational and make rational choices, it gives you reason for answering questions a specific way. Instead of just arguing with me, you can just assume that this happens because of these part of the axioms. And we will get through all of them. They're all interwoven throughout the content. All right. So I wouldn't memorize them like 1 through 9, but if you understand them, then it will say, you know, people make choices for good reasons and incentives matter. And I can incentivize you to do things like log in at 10:30 at night to listen to this, you know, because you think you're going to get a sneak peek at the test. So, all right. What are the axioms again? There's a Prezi on the axioms or SlideShare. I think it's SlideShare. Google Classroom on the stream page. It was like one of the very first posts. So you got to scroll all the way down. Actually, no. I posted them on the readings. So if you go to Google Classroom, classwork, Unit 1 readings, they're listed there. Are we not getting a sneak peek? Y'all, do you have to graph a PPC? No, you do not graph a PPC. You have to interpret a PPC. So I don't know if this is going to come out, but I have, yeah, here's the PPC curve. Let me see. Okay. I don't know if this is going to be good quality because it's my computer. Okay. So you can see this is a production possibilities curve. This is the graph that's on the test. Okay. You have capital goods over here and consumer goods down here. On the curve, you have A, B, C, D, and A, B, C, and D. You have point E in here, and you have point F out here. So you will be asked questions, for example, about point E, and what does point E represent, or what does point F represent? What does points A, B, C, and D represent? And then also about movements from one point to another. What does it take to get from E to, I don't know, pick a letter C or something, or from C to F and that kind of thing. So you have to understand the different areas of the graph and how the movements go along them. All right. E is absolutely feasible, Emma. E happens all the time. E is called unemployment, right? I think it was E, the one inside the curve. Yeah. Point E beneath the line is unemployment. A, B, C, D are efficient, not effective, but efficient. Efficient. It means you're using all of your resources. You're not being wasteful. F is impossible. Unless, remember our game, how do we get to point F? I'm going to wait for someone to type it in the comments. I'm not going to say it. Now, Alexis had also asked, new technology, yay! Alexa got it. All right. E is less productive. Yes, you're correct. E means you're being wasteful. Okay. So, yay, Lauren got it too. So you guys are ready. Okay. Here is a graph, an example. Now, don't type the answer. Don't give the answer out. People have to figure it out. Can you see that? I don't know if you can see. Okay. All right. On this one, you would be asked to find a consumer surplus. So you can see a price, and you can see a quantity, and you can see a demand curve. So you would find the consumer surplus on that one. Don't type an answer. People can do math. by themselves. On this graph, the glare is no bueno. You'll have to find a producer surplus. I'm sorry, my screen's not great right now. Okay. So you can see you have your supply curve, your price, and your quantity, and you're going to have to find producer surplus. All right. And I told you guys there's 4 graphs. So those were 3 of them. Here's the 4th graph. The 4th graph is on, no, the test is not FRQ. The test is 100% multiple choice, 35 multiple choice questions. 35 multiple choice, all multiple choice. I made the Scantrons earlier. And the final graph is on comparative advantage. Gabe, yes. Hold on. So this one is for comparative advantage. Okay. And so those are my 4 graphs. All right. Is there a difference between producer and consumer surplus? Yes. One is producers and one is consumers. So not helpful. Producers are based off your supply curve because they produce things. Consumers are based off your demand curve because they consume things. So you have to find it with different curves. Formula is the same, area of a triangle. Jovan. All right, where's my supply curve graph? Let me get paper. Lily. Oh, she's not on here. Crap. See, students, you guys text me all the time. Okay. All right, Jovan. How you find the triangle? Supply curve. Price. And down. You start at the equilibrium price. You go till you hit your supply curve, trace it all the way back down, and you make your triangle. Okay. Megan, does it matter if it's above or below the line? Yes, because the line you're referring to is price. And then you go from the price to the either demand curve or supply curve, depending on if you want consumer or producer. You have to follow the curve of the people you want. So who are you talking about? That determines that. Emma, underneath price, yes. Input and output method. Oh, Alexis, I'm sorry. No, I'm tired. No, because I don't give you a table. I don't give you a table for comparative advantage. I give you a graph. You can put it into a table if you prefer and do the math that way. If it's easier for you to read it from a table than it is from a graph, just drop the numbers into the boxes and do your math across. And you can do it that way if you'd like. But it's an output problem because it's a graph. So a graph is output. So it's not like the practice where we write in the answers. Princess, no, it's not like that. Nope. How can you tell the difference between the graphs? Shanice, it depends on the curve. Is it labeled S or D? If it's upward sloping and labeled S, it's supply curve. Supply curves are dictated by producers, business owners, people that make things, they supply. If the curve is downward sloping and labeled D, it's a demand curve, and that would be for consumers, what consumers demand or what consumers want. Wow, that's art. I don't know what's art. My awesome graphs. Riley, what would I say the best way to study would be? At this point in time, since your test is in like 12 hours, I would go to the goals and objectives sheet, read each one and say, yes, I know it, or no, I don't. And if you know it, don't waste your time. And if you don't know something, then go back to the practice problems or the reading for that specific topic. And I give you both. So those are there. Emma, comparative advantage question mark. I don't know what that means. I need more information. Alexis Porter, what is the equation for an output? Opposite goes over. Oh. Output opposite over. So, for example, I could either make cake or cupcakes, right? I could make 1 cake or 12 cupcakes. You take the opposite number and you put it over it. So for every 1 cake, I give up 12 cupcakes, or every 1 cupcake, I give up 1/12 of a cake. Did that make any sense? I made it up, but that's how you do the problem. And then you make the good with the lower opportunity cost. All right. Alexa, yes, everything should be marked as done before the test tomorrow. Everything in Unit 1 should be marked as done before the test tomorrow. I'm tired. Have a good night, Gabe. Have a good night, guys. I've got about 3 minutes left, so I'm going to answer the final couple of questions. All right. Emma, input, output, comparative advantage. Comparative advantage is when you have a lower opportunity cost. So comparative advantage is what you can do with less sacrifice. Good night, guys. So Emma, if you can do 2 different things, you're looking for the item that has the lowest sacrifice. So like I just said, you can make a cake or a cupcakes. So here's Emma. And Emma can either make 1 cake or 12 cupcakes. Okay. Now, if Emma is making 1 cake, what is she not making? 12 cupcakes. And if Emma is making 12 cupcakes, what is she not making? The cake. So you can only make one or the other. Okay? Steph, I'm doing the output method for comparative advantage. So the output method is O. The opposite number goes over to determine your fraction. So 12 would go over 1. I'm doing this backwards. And 1 would go over 12. So every cake you make, you're sacrificing 12 over 1. That is 12 cupcakes. And every cupcake you make, you're sacrificing 1/12 of a cake. Okay? So there is your output method. You put the opposite number over. Now, when you're doing this, we're going to compare Emma to Elizabeth, me. All right? So let's say you can make 1 cake, but I could make 3 cakes because I have skills. But maybe I could only make 6 cupcakes because I'm just not good at that. Okay? So now I have 3 and 6 to find, so make the cupcakes. So what I have to do is put the opposite number over. So I would put 6 over 3 or 3 over 6. Okay? So then my opportunity cost every time I make a cake, I'm giving up 2 cupcakes because 6 over 3 equals 2. And this equals 12. And every time you made a cupcake, it's 1/12, and the 3 over 6 is 1/2. Okay? So what we're trying to do is see who should do what. Now, Emma said just make cupcakes, and that is true for Emma. Emma should make cupcakes because that's 1/12, and I should make cakes because I'm looking for the smallest number. This is a 12 versus 2, so that should be me. This is 1/12 versus 1/2. That should be you. So Emma is making cupcakes for the class, and I would be making cakes. Okay? This is the output method. O, O, O. Output. Opposite goes over. Take the opposite number and you put it on top of your number. Okay? So Emma, that was just for you. All right. Now, okay, so make cupcakes. Okay, is there an FRQ? No. No FRQs. No FRQs. 35 multiple choice questions. 35. 35. Okay. Can I do an input really quickly? Yeah, it's not on the test tomorrow, but I can do one if you want. I don't think there's input. I just typed them all and I don't remember an input. That's okay, then never mind. Okay. I'm down. Never mind. I'll wait a couple more minutes if you guys have anything else. But otherwise, I'm really tired. And I have to finish typing this test. I have 10 more questions to type. No. Yeah, 10 more to type. How do you find equilibrium? Oh, man. Equilibrium, love, is where they're equal. It's where supply and demand intersect on a graph, or if it's not on a graph, if it's in a table or a schedule, it's where at what price quantity demanded and quantity supplied is the same. So it's where they're equal. Equilibrium. Oh, I'm so funny. Chris, let me know if that was helpful or not. I can draw a picture if you need me to. Oh my God. Mm-hmm. All right, guys. 19, 20. You have about 40 seconds, and then I'm going to push the end button. Oh, you're welcome, guys. Good night. Get some sleep. Don't stay up all night. Make smart choices. All right. I will see you all in the morning. All right. Good night, guys.